Michael said I have to open it. I said no.
We can start, I don't know what outfit or whatever.
I have $100.
Mayor and council president pro tem.
Oh, that's me.
Pro tem.
The one before, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Is it a pro tem?
Whoever they nominate.
Oh, I thought you were the one before.
No.
No, I don't care.
Cause when
That's right, no.
it was you, Carla would always do it.
No, Carla would always, we always did,
That's right.
doesn't matter, that's fine, I'm good with
But
it.
you know what I mean, like if you weren't here, it went to him, cause he was the one that was getting it before.
Pick up a $500.
Yeah, but if you weren't,
Go ahead.
if you weren't,
Then it was
yeah,
you.
you start, yeah, let's, we'll do it with you. No, it's you got it.
Nominations, closed nominations.
Oh, never mind, no, well, yes, so you. Council
No
President Pro
one else is
Tem,
here, you wanna go up?
or you wanna do it?
It's a running stream from her.
Wow.
You know the bridge?
No.
Should be here, shouldn't it?
Who?
So, ladies and gentlemen of the council, this is the workshop meeting of the Township of North Brunswick for January 6, 2020. The mayor has not arrived, council president has not arrived. In keeping with our procedure, we need to nominate and appoint a council president pro tempore to run the meeting in the absence.
I nominate Carla.
I'll second it.
Are there any other nominations? All those in favor of Councilman Socio as council president pro tempore, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilman Socio.
Good evening, Ms. Russo, roll call please.
Dr. Lopez?
Here.
Ms. Guadagnino?
Here.
Mr. Corbin?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Socio?
Here.
Mr. Andrews? Mayor Womack?
Sunshine notice, please.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publication in the Home News and Tribune on January 2nd, 2020, indicating that the North Brunswick Township Council holds regular meetings on the first and third Monday of each month at 7 p.m. at 710 River Road, North Brunswick, and agenda meetings on the second and fourth Monday of the month at the same place at 7 p.m. In the event a regular meeting falls on a legal holiday, the meeting shall be held on Tuesday night after said holiday at the same place and hour.
Everyone in the room, just please silence your phones, that'd be great. Michelle, how are you?
Good evening.
You're up.
Good evening, everyone. I have two items on the agenda. Number one is the bill list. Number two is a chapter 159, New Jersey Solid Waste Administration and MCI 2019 Recycling Tonnage Grant for $45,771.99. That's it.
Is this grant dollar-wise approximately what we have had in the past?
No, it's a little less than what we've had in the past.
This is based on tonnage? Or,
Our tonnages are up, but certain tonnages are down. And there's more money in certain ones than others, the materials.
oh, you mean like white goods, stuff like that, or?
Between white goods, glass, cardboard,
Right.
plastic, brush, asphalt, concrete, wood.
So it's everything, you're saying?
So you recycle all those items and it's a tonnage, and then in certain items, they have more value than others.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Mack, residents joining us. Happy New Year's to everyone. I have two items for your consideration. 1 through 3 are proclamations that the mayor and council will be honoring the North Brunswick Township High School football team, girls tennis team, and girls soccer team. Those were delayed because of the rainouts on the 3 Mondays that we had, but nevertheless very deserving. My last item is our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. program that will take place on Friday, January 17th at 7 p.m. And our guest speaker will be Freeholder Sanjay Mehra. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Sandy's the speaker.
Yes, she's very excited.
How
to be
late we
joining
reserve the building?
Excuse me?
How late we reserve the building?
I didn't know that about her, that she would
She's good, it's
be-
all very worthwhile.
It'll be very enlightening, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
And I just wanted to excuse myself. I have 2 other events that I'm running to tonight for Township.
Thank you, Luann.
Thank you, Lynn.
Director McCormick? Director Chazor?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Just one item, in reflection of the Cavells. Just a correction, it's not a 2019 recycling tonnage grant, it's 2017 recycling tonnage grant. That'll be corrected on the resolution. And I'm just looking for a resolution to accept the tonnage grant for 2017. That's all.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you, sir.
Director Riggs, how are you tonight?
Good. Happy New Year again, everybody. You should have in your items just a one-page capsule. I introduced this last year and thought I would do it again. I think once more, it reflects really busy activity in our office regarding property maintenance and enhanced enforcement. You can see regarding the total number of formally filed property maintenance items, we went from 270 up to 315. Our formal violation notes went from 146 to 207. Our municipal court summonses more than doubled from 24 to 53, and our revenue went from $7,000 to upwards of almost $25,000. So we had a very busy year. And again, just a brief capsule, but I thought you would find this helpful. And over 4 years, it pretty consistently just shows growing and enhanced enforcement. Would you like-
Michael, I don't get it.
It should be in your attachments.
Okay.
Under number 1.
It is number 1, right?
And then it says backup.
Anybody has any questions or wants any additional information, just let me know.
And only because you broke it out the way you did, any reason why the housing inspections, rental inspections aren't broken out the same way over that time period, or?
The rental inspections, I could look at them, they're really pretty much very close year to year. The housing inspections are much more cyclical because we do them over 5 years. They're scheduled, but they're not scheduled evenly. So it wouldn't be reflective. In other words, I could show you that maybe last year we did 700 and this year we did 1,100, but then maybe next year we'll do 800 again. That's not a, it's an anomaly as to how many we do every year.
When you say housing inspections, do you mean the temporary COs when people go to sell their house? or
No,
you
that's
mean-
not on here at all.
that's
Those
not-
are the multifamily unit inspections
Okay.
for all the
All right,
apartment
that's different.
complexes. So they're on a 5-year schedule, but they're not divided evenly.
All right, that's different, yeah.
So the comparative numbers don't really mean anything. The rental inspection numbers every year come within, it's pretty interesting, but they come in between 11 and 1,200, almost, virtually the same number every year. It's a pretty consistent number. I'll double check them though. The second item tonight is the first of 2 actions that you'll see. The second one coming probably at the next meeting regarding our public roadways in Renaissance. This is in response to a fall meeting where you authorized the release of bonds for Renaissance Section 3, which now put us responsible for the road network. So what you have tonight is my ordinance that I've been working on with traffic safety, which is going to establish parking conditions on 3 different Renaissance boulevards and on Morris Drive. We're going to be prohibiting parking on all 3 sections of Renaissance Boulevard on both sides. And we're going to be permitting and authorizing parking on one side of Morris Drive. And so that's what this ordinance does tonight, and then the signage and enforcement for that will go up. We've already been working with traffic safety over the past month or so to enforce our commercial vehicle ordinance, and we've removed a large number of commercial vehicles from Renaissance Boulevard, and in some cases, we have towed vehicles. And then the next ordinance that you'll see which will be a larger ordinance. I'm working on writing the ordinance to establish Title 39 for the police department, which will give us authority over the private roads in 6 of the homeowners' communities that are part of Section 3 that we've never had Title 39 in before. So when we're done, after the next ordinance, we will have Title 39 in all of Renaissance 100%. So, any questions?
Michael, just, and I'm going back a while, are all the commercial, are they gonna all have Title 39 in there or no?
Commercial properties?
Yeah, commercial properties, no, right?
No, we have Title 39 in every major shopping center.
Okay.
And we have it in most, but not all, multifamily apartment and townhome complexes. I redid that ordinance massively a year or two ago to bring it up to date. I'd have to go back and look, but we have Title 39 in Main Street. We have it in the North Village Shopping Center. We have it in the Walmart Shopping Center.
Is there a reason that we don't have them in all the shopping centers?
I'd have to look,
Those
Bob, just
areas?
to confirm in my head which ones we don't. They have to request it, and what we do in places where we want it, either us or if the police approach us, we contact them, we ask them to provide the letter. I'll go back and,
So they can turn us down, Michael?
Actually,
It's actually the flip side of that.
starting in 2000, when we redid the planning board and actually put rules for the planning board, we started to require it during the planning applications.
Right.
Prior to that, the ones that are probably older, unless they've been updated by them requesting it.
right.
The ones we were surprised to find that some of them didn't have it. So
Right.
that was a suggestion that was made at that time, and since that time, we've always put that into the planning application.
I'll go back and see if I can sort of ascertain who's out. I just didn't want to say all because I can't say with confidence it's 100%. I think there's probably some center locations that are not in, but I don't want to misspeak, so let me go back and look.
Because
at
I
the
thought
list.
from the time I was with Ralph on the
Yeah.
planning board that,
Certainly in the large complexes and stuff like that, we have Title 39. But the police are very eager to get Title 39 in Renaissance, which we've never had, in Section 3. So
Yeah.
that'll be, I should have it done, and that'll be introduced at the next.
next workshop?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
I have 3 items tonight. First is a resolution to adopt the provisions of Chapter 48, under which public employer may agree to pay for state health benefit coverage for certain retirees. So we've had this in place already. You've done this a couple of times. But now that we've completed all of the contracts, and each of them have a component in there for state health benefits, we update this and indicate that the terms of the contract is what covers their eligibility for state health benefits in retirement. So, do you have any questions on that? The next 2 are authorizing a professional services agreement with an attorney, a special counsel for police defense of a couple of our officers who are involved in the lawsuit filed by police officer Michael Campbell. They're different, so we have they're different attorneys, so we have 2 different resolutions. One is the professional service agreement with Lori A. Dvorak with the firm Dvorak and Associates. That will serve for Captain Corey Harris in his defense. And then the other is with Stephen Altman to serve as defense for Deputy Chief Joe Pataglia in that. So those are the first 2 requests that we received for special counsel from the police officers, and this is a matter of course that we provide this for them. Both attorneys have agreed to use the JIF rates for attorneys for this type of litigation. So, any
questions on that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Council President?
Well, I hate to admit it, but the first time that I was involved with the census was 2000. And so I guess this is 3 censuses that we've gone through. Amanda's made this point though many times, she's talked about it. And I hope we can get her to help. I think what we need to do is, we had a group called Make North Brunswick Count back in 2000. And we put together a committee at that time. Now, we didn't have all the social media and we did do a television program about it where we discussed all the points of why it's important for people to fill out their census. New Jersey specifically at that time, because we have so many people that are actually moving out of the state. We had a redistricting, I believe, in the last one because of the loss in numbers of residents. So the more people that you actually lose members of the House of Representatives. So I think we should put together a plan and a program to maybe some of these flyers like that's in the packet there, we can, maybe we can get those to the schools, because we used to distribute things in the schools to all the kids and they take it home to their parents.
And we can do that in English and in Spanish too. And there's a whole website for the census, and they have all the flyers ready to go. Like, they did all the work, so you just have to take them, adopt them to your town, and go with them. And they're in English and Spanish, and I think they have videos maybe.
Well, on the video front, I was gonna suggest that we do a PSA, and maybe, I mean, I sent to Justine a basic outline that possibly, you know, we have the mayor do the introductory part, we hit each one of them, maybe have each council member pick one point, and at the end, we all point and go, you can make North Brunswick count, you know what I mean? It's something that we can replay, but it's very important information. I know there's a lot of people in this day and age that'll probably be scared to fill it out for various reasons. But we really have to make the point that it's a super important thing for us to do. I know you sent through as Edison actually has a thing already, but I think that would be good for us to do a PSA on that and play it on the television stations.
So it starts in March, right? And if by, I don't know the date, maybe April 15th, you can do it, you do it online. You don't do it online. Anyone who hasn't filled it out online will then get a paper one in the mail as of roughly mid-April, somewhere around there. So it's the first time the census has ever been online, which is huge because it's just easier to do that. People are used to doing that. And one of the things, they want everybody, whether you're legal, illegal, documented, not whatever it is, they want everybody to fill it out without any fear of anything negative happening. So that point, I think, has to get across.
I think that's one of the fears we really need to have to try to overcome, to make the point that, you know, that's true, because there's a lot of, and they certainly made enough effort to make you think that they shouldn't fill this stuff out. But it's, I mean, we have lost a lot of citizens in New Jersey. I think we're #1 in losing people, and, you know, we don't want to lose more representation.
So there, I just wanted to share, so the council's aware too, the technical elements of the census are actually managed in community development. Scott Coons has long been for all the prior census, and Karin is sort of our census manager. So for many months now, we've been responding and providing the census with documents. They contact the municipalities seeking updated address list and streets that have been added and stuff like that. So we've been doing that, just so you know. And then actually earlier tonight, based on an email we got from Middlesex County, I sent an email to John Carroll because the county was offering promotional materials that they, not the census, but the county was printing. They were offering a banner and flyers and PDFs, and I sent an email to him earlier tonight asking if we could participate and get copies of those. So he hasn't responded yet, but I've asked him that we want to participate. They were, to be candid, unless we've never done this and gone in this direction, the county was actually offering a grant for census takers, which we've never participated in because it's really, I think, focused more on the urban communities like Perth Amboy and New Brunswick. And that's where they were offering the materials. So I essentially said that I didn't anticipate that we would be applying for a census taker grant, but could we still have the materials to do our own campaign? So I'm waiting to hear back from him. in addition to what you may be referring to, that the census is providing, my take is that the county was producing their own materials.
I don't know if you went, they had a seminar explaining it to municipal officials and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and Scott, when he needs to, attends those meetings on behalf of the town. So when I hear from the county, I'll copy the governing body on the response and the availability. And then if you have any specific questions, our filing and those kind of things are all managed by Scott. He's identified by the census as like our local, I'm using the word manager or facilitator.
I did have a question that I didn't understand. There's municipalities listed on the one page. It says hard to count census tracts. Does anybody know what that means?
Say it again?
Hard to track census? And we're
Hard to
highlighted
count.
on that page. I don't know if that means that we're a town that's difficult to get the information from. I really don't know what it means. Maybe we could find that out as well.
I haven't heard that phrase or seen it.
It's on the page on what we understand, along with the ordinance.
Yeah,
Maybe take a look at that and maybe.
Could you forward that to me, Ralph? And
Yeah.
I'll have Scott, we'll look at it tomorrow morning. And John Carroll's very good, I'm sure he'll get back to me sometime tomorrow about the promotional materials.
And can we task Craig or someone else within to help with making sure our promotional things that we do in-house, local,
And set up a
can get
video.
done? Video or whatever else, council president and council thinks would be the
I
right
mean,
thing
good,
to
you know,
do.
good looking people like Bob Davis on there.
Mayor Truce, finally, just as a reminder, is based on state statute, if this new census demonstrates a population increase in North Brunswick of, I think, 3,000 residents from the last census, we are entitled to create and publicly auction a liquor license, which could be $400,000 to $500,000 in one-time municipal revenue. So that could be a really big deal.
And we need to think twice about it, because we did that after the 2000 census, and we regret having one of them to this day, so we need to be careful with how we do that.
Right, in terms of who got or how it was handled.
So that's who bought it, not actually having one.
Oh,
Right.
again.
But they could have bought another one and we would have still had the same problem. It wouldn't matter whether we added one or not,
I
right?
don't know. I don't know.
I don't
That
know what you're
one
talking about,
was,
so.
That's the one that earned, you a ride to Trenton in the back of the police car.
And he was handcuffed.
Thank you, Council President. Justine, I might need your help on, or Ron, are you familiar with the tax abatement program in some detail? I certainly know why you do it, and I know that we can try to craft it to our own ends and desires, but
Well, there are several programs that are authorized by statute. I think the one that might be advantageous to what you're looking for is a 5-year tax abatement that is targeted to residential properties, where if people were to do an improvement to their home, the added assessments that those improvements would engender are phased in over a 5-year period, so that you're encouraging people to improve their residence without getting the tax bite, if you will.
and it has to be a primary residence.
It does.
And it has to demonstrably increase the value of the home or the surrounding community, is that right?
Generally. So you can lay it out pretty much the way you want to lay it out. You can set minimum floors for the amount that the improvement costs in order to qualify. You can target specific areas. You can make it municipality-wide. You can pretty much tailor it to meet the goals that you're trying to accomplish. So,
So is this a program we already have, or are we trying to create one?
No,
trying to create one.
Okay.
Well, deciding whether we want to create one or not. Primarily for, I mean, I would think largely Burdine's Corner and in some of the other neighborhoods, maybe down Route 130, where they could benefit.
Is
Maple
Mac,
Mead
is it,
Estates.
Pardon me?
Maple Mead Estates.
Maple Mead Estates, right?
is there a time period on this as far as the tax abatement program, how far out it goes?
Goes out for 5 years generally, and the amount of the tax is phased in at 20%
20%?
per year, and at the end of the 5-year period, the assessment kicks in at 100%.
And the assessment's half the value of the house, property, right?
No,
Isn't that
the
how it's
assessment-
taxed?
Well,
No, that's, the
Something totally
assessment
different,
is
right?
the value of, theoretically, the assessment is the fair market value of a home.
but we're.
So your
I know
assessment,
what you're
hold on,
saying.
I'm not done.
Okay.
So your assessment times your rate, your tax rate equals your tax. There is another factor that goes in called the director's ratio. The director's ratio is how much, what the reality of the assessments in your town are to true value. And if your ratio is, say, 50%, then the county tax board will require you to do a revaluation, because it's supposed to be at not less than 80%. So
So what am I thinking of, the half?
I know what you're thinking
I
of.
think we are at about 50.
We are at,
It's like 53% or something like
Right, we're
like
at that for our
You
ratio
multiply
just
that.
about, so, but we have not been ordered to do a reval at this point yet, but should be considered, but
I
that's a
know.
different issue.
Different.
Tax abatement, instead of, when we put an improvement on your home, you get an added assessment bill right after it's CO'd for the amount of time that you had that CO'd. And so this way, it would give you, instead of getting that tax hit right away for the improvement, you'd only get 1/5 of it each year for 5 years. So eventually, they still are gonna have to pay the added assessment on that, but they phase it in so that they don't get it tagged on right away. And it does help to encourage somebody who might not be able to afford an improvement per se because of the added taxes and that type of thing. So it generally does a lot for when you have an area that you wanna try to spruce up or get them to make improvements to. So,
And this is talking about like adding an addition onto the house, right? Not just like redoing the landscaping, right? Like that's what we're talking about, like
It's
big.
not landscaping, it is improvements. So if you did a pool, just pick something.
Right.
Pool has value. If you did a deck adds value.
So bigger
Sheds not
things,
so much.
Like bigger things though, not little things. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, things that would affect the value, otherwise the
Yeah.
abatement would really,
Doesn't make
wouldn't be
sense.
worthless, but.
Right, that's what I was
It's-
trying to figure out, cause like,
And then the theory is people who are on the edge of, can I afford to do this, can I not? This might put them over the edge to go ahead and try to do the improvement, which in theory would help the neighborhood and the whole tax base eventually.
right.
Something like that, so. I
I
guess
can
next
work
step would be,
with the.
we could look at some sample
Sure,
models.
sure.
fix it or let's fix it. Love it or list it.
So, the next item is one that Amanda had asked that we put on some time back, and I had held back on that. And I think we today, did everybody get copies of, like a comparison thing that we had laid out? There's a good bit to it.
40 pages.
And, yeah, there's a good bit to it. I mean,
I know.
a lot of it's really repetitive. The towns seem to have a lot of similarities in their
So I-
codes of conduct. But go ahead, Amanda.
No, so I think we have a good base, what we have so far, even though it's, I think we have some, a lot of the important things are already in there. I think there needs to be some clarification for some things, and maybe some additional things added. I mean, we have nothing with social media, so of course that has to be put on. There is a section,
We have email, but
it says
not-
computers and email, but nothing about phones or internet or anything else. We have like, as far as I know, nothing about phones, right? So are people allowed to use their phones while they're in business? I know some people have to, but not everybody has to. So I think that needs to be added in, and there are some samples that have all of that information. there are, some of the towns talk about families, and where they list, where it's a husband, a wife, a mother, a father, this, that. And then some of them go into stepbrothers, half-brothers, cousins, nieces, like, we need to look at that, and who do we wanna include when we talk about families working in the same department? Like, there's, we just need to update it and see, what we wanna do going forward, because I think some of those things are what need to be addressed. The social media thing I think is important because, posting things on Facebook seems to be a problem, right? Not so much on our website, cause that's controlled by one or two people, I don't know who. But what's the consequences for someone posting false information or defamatory, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Defamatory information about us on their own website, whether they're a community person you can't do much about, right? Opinions are one thing, but saying facts that are wrong are another thing, and so I think if it's an employee saying facts that are wrong, that are negative, that needs to be addressed.
And whether it stands or not, I do notice that I saw in some of them, they pretty much said if you have a Facebook account or whatever, and you're an employee, don't say bad stuff about
But there are people that
your
do.
employer. Yeah,
So,
so I mean,
There's
I
some
did see
recent
somebody
case
that.
law about it, about that very thing, and an employee, doing a social media post negatively about their employer. And, you know, it was disciplinable. And so we'll get all of that research too, to help us craft, you know, putting something, because I think you're right, we need to update this, we don't have enough in there on the social media.
How do
And then-
you- I'm sorry, go ahead.
When you're on board and when you get hired, or do they sign basically computer usage or software usage forms that have, I mean, I can give you one of the ones that we have, because stuff is proprietary,
That's
that you should be, it is.
Yes.
okay.
Some of the samples have that, I don't know if we have, but some of the samples do,
They have
exactly
to
what you're talking
sign
about.
it.
So,
Oh, I don't know about that.
So the
You have to
only
sign-
thing we
you're
do
given a
have is
specific-
what's currently in our personnel manual, which is what was in the
First
beginning of that
yeah.
packet, right? And so that's what they signed, their understanding of,
sign the
because they're
acknowledgement that they
given
got the
the
manual.
personnel manual
Okay.
at the time. So this is
Because we have
timely
both, we
to
have personnel
update
manual, and
that.
then we have a specific, because we actually do with proprietary software information.
Okay.
And usage of your computer, like you said,
Yep.
and your phone, and you sign off on that, there's specific.
As a separate,
It's a separate document.
Kathy, don't forget, each time we log in, we do have the disclaimer on our
Yes.
network.
that's true.
So then, like, there's some, and I don't know if I have, some people have their phones paid for by the township, right?
Yes.
And some don't, so the people who have their phones, then they're using them during the township and during the workday, and that's how it should be. But there are others who aren't and shouldn't be on their phone, and, you know, but I guess part of the problem, not the problem, but, something we just need to look at, is when these things are violated, what happens? Because that's not addressed either. Because if something happens, you say, well, it doesn't say what's gonna happen to me, or there's no consequences, or, and then you have to be consistent, right? So we have to have something in place where every time something happens, you get a letter, you get whatever it is, but that needs to be figured out. So when something, it's concrete and they can't say, well, you didn't say this, or you
Right.
didn't say that, like, because that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna get thrown back at
Right,
us.
that'll be guided by the civil service rules and guidelines, so we'll make sure that that's obvious in there that we
For
create.
bargaining unit employees, is this part of the bargaining unit resolution or contract? Because like, I know, like, with our unions, if we wanna bring up something different, they can say, no, it's not in the four corners of the bargaining unit agreement. So now, I'm not gonna do that because it's not in the bargaining unit agreement, so you now have to negotiate that into the bargaining unit. I'm just bringing it up as
But I think you're right, if we do it as an amendment to the handbook, and we take it to the union reps and see if they're willing to sign off. And hopefully, because what we plan to do is rational and reasonable, there won't be, and it doesn't come up in the midst of a fight or something.
Yeah, at will employees, we don't have the issue with, but
Right.
it's something, we actually have a different letter, offer letter, legal offer letter, employment letter that says CBA, 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 for terms of CBA.
Right.
And they don't get a handbook because their contract, things that say in the handbook, they have a different
Well, we
contract.
say if it's not addressed in the contract, so if it's not a negotiable item in the contract, then everything else defers to the personnel manual. So that's why they get one of those as well. So if it's not in there, and, you know, I don't think we have in any of our contracts, like a social media policy or anything, even on our computer use or anything like that within the contracts. We don't even have anything in there on vehicle use, I believe, in the contracts, but it's in our personnel manual, so it defaults to that if it's not covered in there. But as the mayor pointed out, if we're making changes to that personnel manual, then, you know, I think we have to bring that before them anyway, for each of, which we would do anyway, before all of the bargaining units and discuss with them. So-
For some stuff that, you know, any tablets or computers, your IT people can actually lock all that down. They can't get on Amazon, they can't
Yes.
get on, you know,
Right,
any
they currently have
kind of
that.
inappropriate site or that sort of stuff.
So, and also, there's a, through the JIF, there's a seminar, maybe a webinar, I can't remember which it is, that's coming up, that specifically addresses this, employees and social media and how to deal with that. So you're all welcome to try to attend. I can send you that information, and if you can attend, you can just register for it, because
Let us know.
they encouraged us to send it to all, so, all of you.
They have monitoring software which tells you what the employee has done. It's something that, and then it locks out all that stuff. You can't get on Facebook on one of these, you can't get on Facebook on a laptop, you can't get on Amazon, you know, go shopping during the day and that sort of stuff.
This, some of the things that it says is, you know, social media on work days during work hours should be limited to lunch and breaks before and after work, things like that, which, if it's not written down, there's nothing we could do about it, right? If someone's on there and it says, well, no one told me I couldn't do that, right? So we just have to protect ourselves as a township and as employers. And one of the things I thought was interesting is someone had a clause about not taking photographs of crime scenes, traffic crashes, detainees, incident, like stuff like that, where people would take pictures and be like, look what I saw at work today, right? Like, that's violating
That
people's
was actually
personal.
a state law that was just enacted, wasn't that? Yeah, there's some, I thought there was some state law of first responders because of that, like people, action scenes taking all kinds of crazy pictures and posting on social media. I thought there's some law out there. There may not be, but
I
again,
think I
we
heard
would need
that
to
happened
incorporate
in
it.
somebody, they changed that, you can't do that.
Right, but we would need to incorporate it
We had
here
the,
into our rules, obviously.
We had the Robert Davis photographic prohibition.
So there's a lot of great information in this. I also got a kind of same thing, like a corporate HR, social media type stuff, which is pretty much the same stuff. It's the sexual harassment stuff, which we have, but again, need to update. Confidentiality, all those kind of things. It's like you said, it's a lot of repetitive stuff, but it's all stuff that we need to add. And there's nothing wrong with ours, there's nothing bad about it, it just needs
more
detail, and I think the consequences needs to be something, and not super specific, but disciplinary action could be taken, including and up
Right,
to
and up to.
termination, those kind of things, so that people know that if you do this, something's gonna happen, so they can't say, well, I didn't know that was gonna happen.
If you would check it with Council President, however you think best, if you want the staff to give a go at it, or if you want to do it or come up with a little committee, if y'all think about it and let us know how you want to proceed,
Well, I think it would be good, obviously, this is extremely legal, so, I mean, I don't have that level of expertise, and she doesn't either, or none of us do, well, maybe Bob and you, but, I would say to confer with our attorneys and come up and get examples of what people do, and then let's take a brush at it, we'll take a look at it, and we see if we think there's anything missing. Like you said, it comes up, isn't that disciplinary information? You know, you do it once, you get this, you do it twice, this happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you guys should.
Yeah,
so
and
if
then you could come back
I
to
mean, I
us
can
and
give you
see
things
what-
that I think are important that need to be on there, like
I
as
would like that, so,
like as
yes.
a guide, like I think this is important or whatever, I do that, but.
We'll do that, we'll put together a draft, you could take a look at it, see if there's anything missing. We always run everything through legal, so
seems like some of these already have all the legal stuff in them, right, from the
Right.
other towns?
Yeah.
A lot of them are like the same thing with just a different town.
Right,
The
yeah.
exact same words, we took a
Right.
different town in
You
there,
do
so.
some
Borrow
cut and
from each
paste.
other, yes.
And that's fine, because I mean, it works, that means
Yeah.
it works, right, so. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a Citizens Advisory Committee which really handles recommendations for how we spend our community block grants. And so the individuals who've been on that for a long time, Elisa, Janice, Mark Pritchie, and I think is Mike
Preddy.
Mike Preddy as well at that, for the time here. So if everybody's okay, I was just planning on reappointing the same group.
I haven't switched it.
Did you have anything, Lisa?
I have a few things under my name. I have a fireman's application for Fire Company 1. All paperwork is in order. And items number 2, 3, and 4 are minutes from council meetings of December 19th, December 16th, and reorganization of January 1st. And that's all I have this evening.
And we have closed session items? Somebody signed up.
Luann asked me to read something?
Oh, Luann asked you to read something?
Yes. The North Brunswick Municipal Alliance Committee presents an overview of vaping. Presenters are Mara Carlin, who is the coordinator of Coalition of Community Services for Wellspring Center for Prevention, and Dawn, I'm gonna screw this up, Torrejada, pediatric nurse practitioner Robert Wood Johnson, behavioral health, presenting in the clinical effects of vaping on the young respiratory system. It's here at the Township on Thursday, January 23rd, from 7 to 8 p.m., and then there'll be questions and open discussion for half an hour afterwards. Light refreshments will be served. If you have any questions, please contact Luann at the Department of Parks, Rec, and Community Services at 247-0922, extension 475.
Thank you. And no member of the public is here? And did any council person during this part of the meeting, everything they wanted to throw out there generally before we?
Well, yeah, Luann said this today too. I think this is, I think it's one of my favorite events to attend. It's on the 17th, we have our Martin Luther King Jr. His legacy, and they usually have great speakers come in and talk about their experiences, or they talk about Martin Luther King's accomplishments in his life, plus the kids that come and the different choirs and stuff on site. So that's at 7 o'clock in the courtroom on Friday, January 17th.
Great, thank you.
Santa Circus.
They're so cute.
Tomorrow night, if I understand it, is the county reorganization meeting, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
It's not a political party reorg, it's the one where, it's the county reorg.
Yeah, county, yeah.
Yeah.
Because people were asking me and were confused, and I got confused.
Can you confuse them more?
Yeah, I confused them more. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is, roll call, please.
Dr. Lopez?
Here.
Ms. Guadagnino?
Here.
Mr. Corbin?
Yeah.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Socio?
Here.
Mr. Andrews?
Here.
Mayor Womack?
Here, sunshine notice, please.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by specifying time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda by posting a copy of the agenda upon the bulletin board located in the lobby of the North Brunswick Municipal Building, faxing a copy to the Home News and Tribune, Star Ledger, and Sentinel newspapers, and by faxing a copy, filing a copy in the office of the municipal clerk, and according with a certification by the clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Davis, would you lead us in the pledge to the flag?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the bill list consent agenda item 50-1.20?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Lopez?
Yes.
Ms. Guadagnino?
Yes.
Mr. Corbin?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Socio?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
I know Craig's probably back there listening. Did anybody get any feedback, or Ralph, do you have any update or info about the new camera cameras and sound system we've had installed?
Just from what Craig explained to me, there's a lot of additional extra features and stuff, and the quality of, you can do live streaming now of things. It's supposed to be a great upgrade of the cameras and everything, so that's why I made a suggestion about the PSA, because I think we can do some really good videos, and it's a good way to get information out. I mean, we have the station, and we really should use a little bit more of the power of it.
So are we live streaming now?
Right. Are we live streaming?
I don't know if we
as well
are
as-
now, but we have that capability. We're live on television, on the 2 channels, but this also has live streaming capability.
Well, what's crazy now is that with, whatever it's called, Altice Cablevision, everything, like I've gotten text from friends from out of town, they're flipping through.
No, not
They
yet.
They get our meetings,
Not
like,
yet. Okay.
all over now.
It's not ready yet.
So can
It's
the
just amazing.
Martin Luther King be our first like live streaming event? Can we make that a thing?
That'd be nice. I'm sure Ms. Narrow would appreciate that.
He's going, I don't know.
All right, well,
It does have the capability, it's just that it's probably, it's not
A
online.
dream of streams.
He's gotta wait to figure it out, so.
Will there be makeup artists and stuff to?
Yeah, more and more people are pulling the
Like the
plug
Golden
on,
Globes?
you know, stuff like that, so they have internet access, they can watch stuff eventually on there.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King could be.
Could be,
Okay.
okay.
I do know that I spent, when I could have been watching football yesterday, I was sitting at home watching the live stream of the skating rink. And, it
Is
was
that okay?
not as exciting as football would have been. But that's on. I think they did a nice, it's on the
Oh, yeah.
Township webpage. If you just go and click where it says watch skating. I'm not sure what time Catherine's planning on being out there tomorrow, but.
I got the skates all sharp and ready to go.
Anybody else have anything? Is there anyone here for public hearing?
No.
Motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor? And is there a motion to adjourn our meeting?
So moved.
All in favor? Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll go with something with